Chris Walken, you've made, in this last couple of years, these two enormously successful films. I happen to have seen, you used to be a singer and dancer, didn't you?
I did. That's a long time ago. You must.
The night was calm on the Pacific, the yacht's splendor cutting silently through the waves. But beneath that serene surface, a storm of questions, secrets, and unresolved tension was brewing. A storm that would haunt Hollywood for decades. Natalie Wood, one of the brightest stars of her generation, had vanished. Hours passed before anyone sought help, and by then the whispers and doubts had already begun to spread. The world would soon be gripped by a mystery that seemed larger than life, as if the glitz and glamour of Tinseltown itself had conspired to hide the truth. Robert Wagner, a prominent actor and Natalie's companion that night, had prevented the captain from starting a search immediately. His explanations were inconsistent, fragmentary, and at times contradictory. Each story he offered seemed to raise more questions than answers, fueling suspicion and speculation. How could someone so close to the situation remain silent? Why did it take so long for help to arrive? And even decades later, why did he refuse to cooperate when authorities reopened the case? For more than 40 years, the incident remained cloaked in secrecy, a tangle of unspoken truths, half-remembered testimonies, and unanswered questions. The world was left to wonder, what really happened aboard that yacht? The details we thought. We knew were now being re-examined, and fresh evidence was emerging, shedding new light on the mysterious circumstances that had long puzzled investigators and captivated the public imagination. Natalie's life had always been a mixture of radiant talent and hidden struggles. A child prodigy, a Hollywood darling, and a woman who carried the weight of fame on her young shoulders. She was admired, envied, and yet misunderstood. Even in life, the layers of her story were complex, but in death, the complexities multiplied. Every revelation about that night, the delays, the secrecy, the inconsistencies, only deepened the intrigue, pulling the public ever closer into a puzzle that seemed almost impossible to solve. As the years passed, theories abounded, each more speculative than the last. Rumors of accidental drowning, disputes aboard the yacht, and silent tensions simmering beneath the surface all became part of a narrative that seemed almost mythic. And now, with new pieces of evidence surfacing, the possibility of finally unraveling, the truth seemed closer than ever. What had been hidden for decades was slowly, painstakingly, beginning to emerge, offering a glimpse into a tragedy that had captivated and haunted Hollywood for generations. Natalie Wood was born on July 20th, 1938, in the bustling city of San Francisco, carrying the name Natalia Nikolaevna Zakhareno. Her parents, Maria and Nikolai, had left the familiar landscapes of Russia behind, seeking the elusive promise of a better life in America. They arrived with dreams in their hearts, but little in their pockets, facing the harsh reality of a life, rebuilt from scratch. Poverty shadowed their early years, yet Maria's determination burned brightly, especially when it came to her daughter. She saw in Natalie a spark, a potential so luminous that she believed it could light up Hollywood itself. Life in the Zakhareno household was not easy. The family juggled menial jobs and daily struggles, yet Maria's unwavering vision never wavered. She was certain that Natalie's path was extraordinary, a journey that could elevate them beyond their modest beginnings. While Nikolai often remained skeptical, it was Maria's ambition and conviction that would guide the family toward the glimmering world of cinema. In her mother's eyes, Natalie was destined for greatness, and no obstacle, no hardship, could deter that dream. Natalie's first encounter with the film industry was almost serendipitous. At the tender age of 4, while the family had relocated to Santa Rosa, a film crew happened to be shooting nearby. It was there, in a fleeting moment of curiosity and chance, that young Natalie caught the attention of those behind the camera. She was given a tiny role, appearing for barely 15 seconds in the film Happy Land. To most, it would have seemed insignificant, but for Natalie, It was the opening door to a world that would come to define her life. The brief appearance was enough to make an impression. Director Irving Pitchell took notice of the child, impressed not just by her looks, but by a certain innate presence she carried. Pitchell maintained contact with Maria, awaiting the right moment to provide Natalie with an opportunity that could launch her career. When that moment finally arrived, Maria acted decisively. She packed the family and moved to Los Angeles, convinced that this was the turning point they had been waiting for. Nikolai's reservations were overshadowed by Maria's determination. The mother's belief in her daughter's destiny was unshakable. By the age of 7, Natalie was stepping into roles that would challenge her young mind and spirit. Her first significant role came in Tomorrow is Forever, 1946, where she played a German orphan alongside Orson Welles and Claudette Colbert. The set was demanding, emotions ran deep, and Natalie was thrust into the intense world of professional filmmaking. In one particularly harrowing scene, Maria forced an emotional response by a shocking act that left the young Natalie in tears. It was a harsh introduction to a career that would require her to navigate the delicate balance of childhood innocence and professional expectation. Despite such pressures, Natalie's talent shone brightly. Her natural ability to act from the heart, even at such a young age, drew praise from Hollywood veterans. Orson Welles himself remarked on the almost eerie depth of her performances, noting that she did not merely follow the script, she embodied it. From the very beginning, it was evident that Natalie Wood was not just another child actor. She was a prodigy in the making, poised to leave an indelible mark on the world of cinema. Natalie's first real steps into Hollywood were marked by a mixture of chance, ambition, and relentless determination from her mother. That tiny 15-second appearance in Happyland was more than a brief glimpse on screen. It was a door opening to a world that seemed larger than life, filled with glimmering lights, endless possibilities, and daunting expectations. Director Irving Pitchell, impressed by her natural presence, maintained contact with the family, quietly watching as Natalie grew. He believed that one day she would be ready for a role that could launch a full-fledged career, and when that day came, Maria was ready to act without hesitation. The family's move to Los Angeles was not merely a change of address, it was a leap of faith. Maria's belief in her daughter's destiny was unshakable. She packed up their lives, leaving behind the familiar streets of Santa Rosa, convinced that Hollywood was where Natalie was meant to shine. Nikolai remained cautious, wary of the harsh realities of the entertainment industry, but he eventually conceded to his wife's determination. For Maria, the stakes were clear. Natalie's talent was too rare, too precious, to be left to chance. Natalie's first substantial role came at the age of 7, when she was cast as a German orphan in Tomorrow is Forever, 1946. Sharing the screen with legends like Orson Welles and Claudette Colbert, she faced challenges that would test even the most seasoned actors. One scene demanded authentic tears, and when Natalie struggled, Maria resorted to a shocking tactic, a butterfly torn apart before her eyes, to elicit a genuine emotional reaction. The young girl responded with heart-wrenching sobs, delivering a performance that left the cast and crew in awe. It was a formative moment, teaching her the intense emotional demands of acting, but also hinting at the complex pressures that would follow her throughout her career. Beyond the dramatic lessons, on set, Natalie demonstrated a remarkable blend of intelligence and discipline. She excelled academically, particularly in mathematics, while simultaneously navigating the rigorous demands of film work. California law required child actors to dedicate at least 3 hours a day to formal education, and Natalie adhered to this with unwavering commitment. On set, she balanced schoolwork with acting, often completing lessons under the watchful eye of on-set tutors before diving into emotionally charged scenes. Directors marveled at her focus, with Joseph L. Mankiewicz once calling her the smartest child he had ever met. a rare compliment in a world where talent was often prized over intellect. Despite her youth, Natalie's work ethic was extraordinary. 12-hour workdays, 6 days a week, were the norm, and yet she approached each role with a determination far beyond her years. She understood, perhaps instinctively, that Hollywood demanded more than talent. It demanded persistence, resilience, and the ability to perform under immense pressure. From these early steps, it became clear that Natalie Wood was not just a fleeting child star. She possessed the rare combination of natural talent, emotional depth, and unwavering dedication that would propel her into the hearts of audiences and the annals of Hollywood history. As Natalie Wood's career began to gain momentum, it became increasingly clear that she was no ordinary child actor. After her early experiences in Happy Land and Tomorrow is Forever, she quickly established herself as a force to be reckoned. Within Hollywood, combining natural talent with an uncanny emotional depth that belied her young age. Every performance she delivered revealed a maturity far beyond her years, capturing the attention of directors, critics, and audiences alike. Following her debut, Natalie continued to work closely with director Irving Pitchell, starring in The Bride Wore Boots. These early films allowed her to refine her craft, learning the intricacies of timing, expression, and presence on screen. By 1947, she had signed with 20th Century Fox, taking on the role of Gene Tierney's daughter in The Ghost and Mrs. Muir. Even at such a young age, she demonstrated a remarkable ability to hold her own alongside Hollywood's most accomplished performers, proving that her talent was more than skin-deep charm. It was later that same year that Natalie experienced her first true breakthrough with Miracle on 34th Street. Playing a skeptical, intelligent little girl who doubted the existence of Santa Claus, Natalie charmed audiences with her nuanced portrayal of doubt, curiosity, and eventual belief. The role required her to convey complex emotions with subtlety, making the audience feel her character's skepticism and wonder simultaneously. The film became a beloved classic, earning her recognition and cementing her place as a household name. Her success was such that she was invited to participate in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, a rare honor for someone of her age. Despite the glamour and excitement surrounding her rising fame, Natalie's life as a child actor was far from easy. She was expected to balance her career with formal education, dedicating at least 3 hours daily to lessons while on set. Tutors accompanied her to ensure that her studies remained on track, but this dual burden of school and work was exhausting for a child. Yet Natalie approached both with discipline and determination, understanding that success in Hollywood demanded more than just talent. It required resilience and unwavering focus. Her workdays were grueling, often lasting up to 12 hours, 6 days a week. The pressure to deliver perfect performances never ceased, and the emotional demands of acting were relentless. In scenes that required deep emotional engagement, Natalie's young mind and heart were put to the test. And yet, she consistently rose to the occasion, displaying a poise and professionalism that left directors and co-stars in awe. Orson Welles, who had worked with her early in her career, once remarked that there was something almost eerie about the way she acted from the heart rather than merely following the script. By the time she reached her early teens, Natalie's career was already well established. She had evolved from a promising child performer into a serious actress with remarkable range and depth. Her performances reflected both her inherent talent and the rigorous training she had undergone under the watchful eyes of her family and mentors. Every film she participated in added another layer to her growing reputation, reinforcing the notion that she was destined for enduring success in an industry notorious for fleeting fame. The foundation of her career, built upon talent, dedication, and resilience, set the stage for her transition into teenage roles and more complex performances. But alongside this professional ascent came personal challenges. The pressures of stardom, long hours on set, and the expectations of those around her began to weigh heavily on Natalie, hinting at the struggles she would face as she navigated adolescence under the glare of public scrutiny. Her journey from child star to Hollywood icon was underway, marked by triumph, discipline, and an unrelenting commitment to her craft. Natalie Wood's teenage years marked a dramatic turning point in her career as she transitioned from celebrated child star to one of Hollywood's most compelling young actresses. The defining moment came in 1955 with Rebel Without a Cause, a film that would become an enduring symbol of teenage angst and emotional turmoil. Cast as Judy, a troubled teenager grappling with love, loss, and the search for acceptance, Natalie was tasked with portraying a depth of emotion that far exceeded the typical roles offered to young women at the time. Landing the role was no simple feat. Director Nicholas Ray initially doubted her ability to convincingly embody a rebellious teenager, given her history of innocent, childlike roles. Other actresses, including Debbie Reynolds, were considered for the part, but Natalie's determination was unwavering. She boldly threatened Ray that if he did not allow her to audition, she would run away and live the life of a real delinquent, a testament to her fierce commitment to authenticity. Her persistence paid off, and she secured the role that would define a new chapter in her career. On set, Natalie immersed herself fully in the world of her character. Every nuance, every glance, and every emotional outburst was honed to convey the complexity of Judy's inner life. She formed intense working relationships with her co-stars, including James Dean and Dennis Hopper, navigating both professional demands and the volatile emotional energy of the film's narrative. During production, she was involved in a minor car accident with Hopper, underscoring the very real dangers of embodying a story rooted in rebellion and risk. The impact of Rebel Without a Cause extended beyond the set. Shortly after filming wrapped, tragedy struck when James Dean, the film's iconic lead, died in a car crash. His sudden death cast a shadow over the production, adding layers of poignancy and emotional gravity to a story already brimming with raw tension. Natalie's performance, however, remained luminous. Her portrayal of Judy, vulnerable yet resilient, conflicted yet yearning, captured the hearts of audiences and critics alike. It was a role that demanded not just skill, but courage, and Natalie delivered with an authenticity that would solidify her reputation as more than a child star. Recognition followed swiftly. In 1956, she earned an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress, a remarkable achievement for someone so young. That same year, she was honored with a Golden Globe for Most Promising Newcomer, affirming Hollywood's acknowledgement of her extraordinary talent. These accolades were not mere tokens, they were a clear signal that Natalie Wood had arrived as a serious force in the entertainment industry. With the momentum of Rebel Without a Cause, new opportunities poured in. She began to explore roles that showcased her versatility, challenging both societal norms and cinematic expectations. Each performance demonstrated her range, from heartfelt drama to subtle, understated emotion. By her early 20s, Natalie had transitioned seamlessly into leading lady status, earning a place among Hollywood's brightest stars. Films such as Splendor in the Grass and West Side Story would follow, each reinforcing her skill, dedication, and ability to captivate audiences with compelling, deeply human portrayals. Through it all, Natalie's rise to fame was tempered by the pressures of public scrutiny, demanding schedules, and the complexities of growing up in the spotlight. Yet she met every challenge with a combination of talent, intelligence, and unyielding resolve. Her journey from child prodigy to iconic young actress was not simply a story of stardom, it was a testament to her extraordinary resilience, discipline, and the rare ability to transform personal experience into unforgettable cinematic performances. As Natalie Wood stepped further into her teenage years, the spotlight of fame grew brighter, and with it came pressures few could imagine. The transition from child star to adolescent actress was fraught with challenges, professional, personal, and emotional. Hollywood demanded perfection, yet adolescence is by nature a time of growth, confusion, and vulnerability. Natalie was forced to navigate this turbulent phase while the public scrutinized every choice she made, every emotion she displayed, and every relationship she formed. The success of Rebel Without a Cause placed enormous expectations on Natalie's young shoulders. Audiences and critics alike anticipated that her next roles would continue to showcase the emotional depth she had so effortlessly conveyed. Behind the scenes, however, the reality was far more complex. Long hours on set, intense preparation for emotionally demanding scenes, and the constant pressure to maintain a public image left Natalie in a delicate balance between professional dedication and personal well-being. Her relationships during this period were equally complicated. At 16, she entered a relationship with director Nicholas Ray, the man who had given her the role that catapulted her to fame. At the time, many perceived it as part of her deep immersion into the world of her character, Judy. Yet, years later, Natalie would reflect on this relationship as painful and inappropriate, a chapter she wished had never occurred. The emotional impact lingered long after filming ended, a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities that accompanied her professional commitments. Even as she confronted these personal struggles, Natalie remained focused on her craft. She approached each role with the intensity and discipline of a seasoned professional, refusing to allow fame or scrutiny to dilute her performances. Her teenage years were marked by a delicate balancing act, maintaining academic commitments while filming, navigating complicated personal relationships, and upholding the expectations of a Hollywood starlet whose every move was observed. Despite these pressures, Natalie's performances continued to resonate deeply with audiences. Her ability to convey raw, authentic emotion, even in the midst of personal turmoil, became a hallmark of her work. Whether portraying a rebellious teenager grappling with love and loss, or a young woman confronting her own inner struggles, Natalie brought an honesty and vulnerability to her roles that few could match. Yet, behind the acclaim and applause, there were moments of isolation and exhaustion. The line between Natalie's personal identity and the character she portrayed often blurred, leaving her to navigate a world where private emotions were constantly intertwined with public expectation. It was a period of growth, learning, and resilience, a time that would shape the woman and actress she was becoming, preparing her for the complex and challenging roles that lay ahead in her career. By the early 1960s, Natalie Wood had firmly established herself as one of Hollywood's most promising talents. The transition from teenage star to leading lady, however, was neither automatic nor simple. It required courage, determination, and a willingness to tackle roles that challenged societal norms and her own personal limits. For Natalie, this period marked a turning point, both professionally and emotionally, as she stepped into characters that demanded not only skill but profound depth of emotion. Her first major role in this new chapter came with Splendor in the Grass, 1961, where she portrayed Deanie, a young woman struggling with heartbreak, societal expectations, and the fragile boundaries of her own mental health. The role was intense, requiring Natalie to explore emotions she had never had to confront on screen before. To bring authenticity to her performance, she visited mental hospitals, observing patients and studying their behaviors to ensure that every gesture, every expression, was rooted in realism. The result was a portrayal of heartbreak and vulnerability that was both raw and unforgettable. One scene in particular, where Deanie experiences a breakdown in a bathtub, was filmed in a single, uninterrupted take, a testament to Natalie's commitment and emotional stamina. The film was a critical and commercial success, earning Natalie her second Oscar nomination. It was a clear signal that she was more than just a former child star. She was a leading actress capable of carrying complex, emotionally charged roles. Her ability to embody the intricacies of human emotion allowed audiences to connect deeply with her characters, making her performances both memorable and impactful. Immediately following Splendor in the Grass, Natalie took on the role of Maria in West Side Story, a musical that would become one of the most beloved films in cinematic history. Playing a Puerto Rican girl caught in a tragic love story across rival gangs, Natalie brought warmth, intelligence, and depth to the character, even though her singing voice was dubbed by another artist. The film was a massive hit, winning 10 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and further solidifying Natalie's place as one of Hollywood's brightest stars. Through these two roles, she demonstrated remarkable versatility, moving seamlessly from intense drama to a sweeping musical while maintaining authenticity in every scene. During this period, Natalie was also recognized for her willingness to take risks, selecting projects that challenged conventional storytelling and addressed complex social themes. In Love with the Proper Stranger, 1963, she portrayed a woman facing an unplanned pregnancy, a subject rarely explored on screen at the time. The film required emotional courage, especially in a scene depicting a traumatic abortion attempt, which Natalie improvised with raw intensity. Her performance earned her a third Oscar nomination, reinforcing her reputation as an actress unafraid to explore the darkest, most challenging aspects of human experience. Despite her soaring career, Natalie remained acutely aware of the pitfalls of Hollywood. She refused to be typecast and actively sought roles that would expand her range and challenge her creatively. By 1966, this desire for autonomy led her to make a bold decision. She paid $175,000 to break her contract with Warner Brothers. It was a gamble that demonstrated both her independence and her commitment to artistic integrity, even as it meant stepping away from the relative security of the studio system. Her choices during this period reflected a mature understanding of her career and her personal boundaries. She sought to balance professional ambition with personal growth, navigating a world that often demanded compromise at the expense of individuality. Natalie's transition to leading lady status was thus defined not only by her talent and critical acclaim, but also by her determination to control her own narrative, ensuring that her work remained both authentic and meaningful. Through these years, Natalie Wood proved that she was capable of far more than the industry had initially imagined. She had grown from child prodigy into a complex, formidable actress whose performances resonated deeply with audiences and critics alike. The path she carved during this period set the stage for both her future triumphs and the personal struggles that would continue to shape her extraordinary life and career. By the mid-1960s, Natalie Wood had firmly established herself as one of Hollywood's most versatile and celebrated actresses. Yet, despite the glamour, accolades, and critical acclaim, she found herself grappling with a profound sense of confinement within the Hollywood system. The roles she was offered, though prestigious, often failed to challenge her artistically. Natalie, driven by a desire to explore complex characters and push boundaries, knew that to maintain her integrity as an actress, she would have to make bold, sometimes risky, choices. In 1963, she starred in Love with the Proper Stranger, a film that addressed the taboo subject of unplanned pregnancy, a topic rarely explored in Hollywood at the time. Natalie's portrayal was unflinchingly honest, particularly in a harrowing scene depicting a traumatic abortion attempt, which she improvised with raw emotion. This performance earned her a third Oscar nomination, further cementing her reputation as an actress unafraid to confront the most challenging aspects of human experience. Each project she chose reflected her commitment to authenticity and her willingness to tackle roles that other actresses might have avoided, revealing a deep understanding of both her craft and the social impact of her work. Yet, the pursuit of creative freedom came at a cost. In 1966, Natalie made the unprecedented decision to pay $175,000 to break her contract with Warner Brothers. It was a bold move, one that demonstrated her unwavering commitment to controlling her own career, even as it meant stepping away from the security and predictability of the studio system. She also turned down major roles in films like Barefoot, In the Park, believing they would not provide the depth or challenge she sought. These decisions marked a turning point, a period where Natalie prioritized artistic integrity over fame or financial stability. However, the pressures of fame combined with the weight of navigating her own career path began to take a toll on Natalie's personal life. The constant scrutiny of Hollywood, the demands of challenging roles, and the struggle to assert control over her own narrative led to periods of profound emotional strain. In 1966, at the height of this personal and professional turmoil, Natalie attempted suicide by overdosing on sleeping pills. Fortunately, she survived, but the incident forced her to confront the fragility of her well-being and the unsustainable nature of the pressures she had been under. Following this harrowing episode, Natalie made significant changes to regain control of her life. She stepped away from acting for a time, dismissing her entire professional team, and focused on her mental health. It was a period of introspection and recovery, where she sought to reestablish balance between her career ambitions and personal needs. The experience left an indelible mark, shaping her future choices and reinforcing the importance of self-preservation amid the relentless demands of Hollywood. Natalie's bold career choices and personal struggles during this period reflect a remarkable duality, an actress unafraid to challenge conventions on screen, yet deeply human in her response to the pressures of life off-screen. She navigated fame, artistic aspiration, and personal vulnerability with a resilience that few could match. These years defined not only her career trajectory but also her character, demonstrating a rare courage to confront both external expectations and internal turmoil with honesty and determination. Through these trials, Natalie Wood's legacy as a fearless, principled actress continued to grow. Her willingness to take risks, to challenge herself, and to demand authenticity in her work solidified her position as one of Hollywood's most compelling and respected figures.